Yeah,
So yeah,
that's...
maybe we should hop on to the worst FromSoft title, Demon Souls.
Oh, hush, dog.
Yep.
Alright, so I'm looking at like the order they're in. Like I haven't changed anything. Like this is just what I found on tiermaker.com. Um, it's a weird order
Oh,
to
one
go
quick
in.
question, Ginge. How are you going to adjudicate between like A tiers? Like, are you actually like placing the higher A tier ones more to the left, uh, and the lower A
Yeah.
tier ones to the right, or is it just equal?
I think like if we have something like high A tier, then we're gonna put it more to
Yeah,
the
I
left
think
side.
that's
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool.
Right, well, the first one up for our Demon Souls tier list is going to be Old King Allant. Um, I'm guessing that that's the actual Old King, not the True King.
Yeah, True King is just the blob. That's not
Yeah,
even a boss.
I mean, isn't he technically considered a boss?
Sorta.
Yeah, he has a
Like,
health.
mind you, I'm still gonna get hit by him at some point, but it doesn't matter. I get hit by everything. But
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
really a boss. It's very free.
The thing is, like, Old King Allant, like, it's one of the more enjoyable fights in the game. Like, if you fight him straight up, he has the most diverse moveset, I feel, out of all the Demon Souls bosses.
Yeah.
But at the
Old
same time, he's one of those that can be the easiestly cheesed as well, with the
Yeah,
poison threats.
I don't really think talking about the cheese strats, I don't think that's fair. Like, you can find a lot of different ways to do it. Some of them you can shoot from outside the arena. So I don't know. Personally, I don't take the cheeses into consideration.
Mm,
Me neither.
Maybe in some scenarios, but yeah, for Old King Alon, I think right off the bat, to me, that's the best fight in the game.
yeah.
His move set is very fair. The arena is awesome. He's just really cool, and
Mm.
his moves, there's a counter for everything, and it's just yeah, very well rounded, and the spectacle of it is nice as well. That's I would put that S tier.
Caleb brings up perhaps the only fault with the boss, which is the run back is absolutely diabolical.
Yeah,
Yeah. But I think the
yeah,
Because you
same
that's
can
have
be...
to
pretty.
run past the dragon and then go on perhaps the slowest elevator man has
That's
ever done.
that's the worst part of it. The
Yeah.
dragon is like you can get that pretty quick, but yeah, that elevator is
And
unacceptable.
he is like the only of the final bosses of the separate worlds that actually has a proper run back. Like, no, except Old Monk, I think. Old Monk has one too. But like Maiden Estrella, uh, um, the big flying thing, Storm King, like you start right outside of their arena again. Well, walking along, it's like a very long run back. But like the same can be said like for almost every one of the other bosses in the game, though.
Yeah, but it just feels especially tedious, I feel, because he's a hard, well, I wouldn't say he's a hard boss if you played other FromSoft titles, but if it's your first game, he feels noticeably harder than the remainder of the game. And so I think that, having to spend almost 2 minutes between the dragon and the elevator each time just to get to him might be very frustrating for first time
Yeah,
players.
and other runbacks, at least you're doing something. This
Yep.
one, you're just sitting in the elevator.
Yep. But
Yeah,
I agree with Killer. It's perhaps, an S tier fight outside of that consideration.
yeah. Like, are we keeping like, or are we taking that into account? The whole run back thing,
I
because
mean, I
Yeah, I
still
think
think it deserves an S tier personally, but Killer.
yeah,
yeah,
the the run up is inconvenient, but it's not something that is awful.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
agreed.
I
Like,
think I
it
would have been
doesn't
more
take away from
punishing.
it.
Yeah, I would have been more punishing if it so happened that Old King Alant was the only boss with such a despicable run back, but because the
Mm,
entire game has really horrid run backs, I almost, feel bad even pointing it out as uniquely bad.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then he's definitely going into S tier. Um, I mean, Dragon God is next up. Like, I mean, Dragon God was like the first real puzzle boss. It's not even much of a puzzle. The only downside that I feel is that like the pillars that you have to break along the route. Like I've done this with like bow only, and it just takes so many arrows. First of all, and like it's almost completely undoable. You will get noticed at some point, and usually in like such a bullshit moment. And it's not even a real boss fight in my opinion either. Like it's just run around the arena, fire two ballistas, and then hit his glowing weak spot.
Yeah. I will say for these, it's kind of when it's bosses like that, like a gimmick boss or like a puzzle boss, you kind of got to consider it differently than the others because of the way it's designed. Obviously, for all of them, you want to see if they're actually fun, which a lot of the time bosses and gimmicks can take you out of it. But for Dragon God, he looks really cool.
Yeah,
Looks really cool. Like you said, those barriers are very annoying. It's I don't know. It's not enjoyable for me. The It looks cool is
yeah,
the best I can say about it.
For me, Dragon God is probably one of the worst bosses From has ever devised. I have two primary reasons for feeling that way. One is actually to do with what Killer said about him looking very cool. I know that Dragon God was pretty central to Demon Souls' marketing when it released and also when the
mm,
remake released. And fair dues, he's a massive boss that looks quite sort of visually appealing, but for then the entire fight to be a stealth fight that revolves around you firing two arrows at him and then stabbing at his chin is one of the most anticlimactic things I've ever experienced in the
yeah,
game personally.
yeah,
The second thing that I viciously despise about the fight is that the cost of being wrong is so prohibitive because if he spots you and punches at you, it's basically in most instances an insta kill, and you end up having to do the entire fight again. So for me, it's a I you'll see as we go along. There are not very many bosses I ever give the F tier to. I reserve the F tier for like absolute garbage. And I think that Dragon God is one of those that I would probably put in the F tier.
yeah. Apparently, we did this doesn't have even have F tier, so D is the lowest we can go
Yeah.
here right now.
I I think how cool he is drags him out of that for me. Definitely at a D tier. And you reminded me about that of just how cool he looks and then to make the fight that way.
Yeah,
And at the beginning of the game, if you get by Vanguard, he ends up just killing you, right?
yeah, yeah,
So for you to get back to him, that's a good like revenge thing. They really missed out on an opportunity to make it like a Genny sort of thing where, you know, he tunes you the first time, you don't really have a chance, but then you get to have an epic fight to get back at it. And I just feel like they could have done a lot more.
yeah.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Like he is a cool looking boss. Like there's definitely no denying that. And then like the lore around him is amazing. And as Doc also points out, like he was pivotal in a lot of the marketing. Like even in the opening cutscene, you see him freed basically. Um, and then just be like, okay, wow, we get to Dragon Boss. What do we have to do? Oh, it's a puzzle. Oh, okay, yeah, fine, fair enough, I guess. That didn't really. Yeah, there was definitely no satisfaction there because, and then as well as Killer points out, like in the tutorial when you kill Vanguard, which is like I don't think a lot of people killed Vanguard in the tutorial because you are technically meant to die to him. That's why they put Dragon God behind it, that you definitely will die even if you get past Vanguard. Um, and then to just have him appear again, and just be like, okay, figure this one out. It's like, yeah, why? Like, yeah, it just there was absolutely no excitement there when you finally got to him.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said, and for me, yeah, for that reason, he's one of the very worst bosses they've ever put out.
Yeah. Yeah, for me it would be D tier, definitely. Like,
D.
yeah, the fact that we don't have
Get him out of here.
yeah. Uh, Dirty Colossus. Um, I mean, if we're not counting cheeses, I guess he can be a bit of a challenge. Like the main thing for me is that he's just like the name implies, he's a dirty boss. Like the whole flying attack, well the flies that he attacks with basically, um, it just require like when you get hit, it just requires you to run to the nearest flame. Like it's a fun little mechanic, but like it just mm, I don't know how to put this. Like it's just an annoyance basically to always run back to that flame for every hit that you take.
I'm okay with that. I actually like that they made that a thing that you kind of have to figure out. And to get hit by, like, you can avoid it, so it's better than
Mm,
taking a bunch of damage because it can be difficult to avoid it. It has pretty good tracking, but for you to be able to get that off with the environment, I think that's cool.
For me, I think that again, I'm trying to rate these bosses in the context of being in Demon Souls, which generally speaking has more simplistic bosses than the later games.
mm,
He's probably in the B tier because he can proc stasis effects on you, and he actually does hit fairly hard. But having said that, his moveset isn't particularly diverse, and I actually feel like you can fight him by dodging to the right fairly minimally. It's not, very often that you even really need to dodge. You can just sort of hack at him, occasionally dodge and carry right on. If you have fire, more power to you. He
mm.
becomes almost a joke at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's kind of like one of those bosses that, doesn't leave an impression on me either way, and probably is a B tier one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's a boss that I think the design is cool.
Mm,
Yeah.
But it is a little too easy because you don't even really need to dodge. You can just kind of run around in the circle, go and get a hit, run around kind of thing.
yeah.
Um,
I
and
do. Go ahead.
the arena I actually like because you can get caught in it. And that's
Yeah.
annoying and I hate it, but also I think it's a cool thing that they added.
Yeah, the one thing I would say is thank God there is a shortcut of sorts for that boss, because otherwise I would have been perhaps very much more punishing, given that the area just
Yeah.
prior is a
Yeah.
nightmare to go
Even
through.
the shortcut isn't shortcutty enough for me.
Yeah. No.
This one has a bad run up.
Yeah. The run up for
The
Dirty Colossus is the worst in the game. Like, no doubt.
I just hate that area. I think it's underrated in terms of how evil that area is in
Yeah.
the entire catalog of FromSoft games.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, probably a low B for me. Like a B minus is where I would place it personally.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. High C, low B. I
Yeah.
like the design. The fight is a little simplistic. The mechanics they put in it were cool. I like the arena as well, but yeah, he's a little too slow.
Yeah. I would agree with low B, high C. Thing is like yeah, he's definitely so weak to fire, but also like just like everything in the game, weak to magic. Like there isn't a single enemy I think that isn't weak to magic in Demon Souls.
Magic
Um,
is absolutely broken.
Yeah, yeah. And even though like the design, like it is it is basically what the name says. It is a dirty colossus. Um, but I think because there is like, except for the flies that you have to run to the flames to get rid of, like there's not really a like defining thing about him that really sticks. You know that yeah that like he's a throwaway boss basically. Like there's nothing that special about him except for that one
Yeah,
little mechanic.
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. You wouldn't really remember him on
No,
completing the game, honestly.
yeah. So we'll put him. I mean, let's go low B then. Yeah. Old hero, like lore wise and mechanic wise, like I kind of like that. Yeah, I like that fight. The fact that you know, you're fighting a blind guy, which you know I do a lot of in real life. And you have to like sneak around so he doesn't hear you. You get a few attacks off, then he's focused on you. Like the fight is more sneaking than actual fighting. But when he catches you and you haven't leveled your health up enough, like he will kill you. Like he has some combos in there that will just wreck you. And I again, it's kind of a gimmick fight, but it's a gimmick fight done right in this instance. I feel like thematically it just makes sense.
Yeah. Almost every fight in the game is a gimmick fight for Demon Souls. This one is one of the good ones. Like he's really cool enemy, giant once again, looking very cool, and the whole mechanic of or the idea that he can't see. I think they actually do a good job of getting that point across. A lot of times from soft, there'll be these little things, but finding out about them is very obscure. But this one, they get that point across pretty quickly with just the way he moves.
Yeah.
And yeah, his move set is cool. It's cool once you figure out that yeah, he can only hear you.
Mhm.
Um, I think his damage is appropriate as well. That's he's a good boss. The arena also good.
Yeah.
It's the arena's decent. It's good for what it is. It's good for
Mhm.
sneaking. It gives you a little bit of cover. Yeah.
For me, I tend to agree with everything you said. The only reason why I would refrain from placing him in the S tier and dropping him down to A tier is the run back, which I have to mention.
Yeah.
You have to navigate through the chunky knights that hit like a truck, and there's quite a few of them on a narrow pathway. You
Mhm.
have to then deal with those alien looking giant monstrosities that, again, hit like a truck and are in narrow pathways that make it difficult to avoid them. And your reward for doing that is potentially fleeing for your life as you're being sniped by Grim Reapers that are along the path that cast at you, with each cast being very capable of one-shotting you, or at least, putting you very close to death. So, having done that run back a fair few times, I think that has soured the image of the boss for me, but I would probably still place it in A tier.
Mm. Let me just quickly say welcome in Radar, welcome in Snazzy, welcome in Doko. I feel like I haven't been paying enough attention to chat. Um, yeah, welcome in, guys.
Snazzy Doko Radar. Welcome in.
The thing about like the run back that I do feel like because the Reapers they summon the alien looking dudes. Like I don't even understand what the alien looking dudes like. They feel out of place in Demon Souls. Um, but like when you know where the Reapers are, they're easy enough to deal with. Um, like they are susceptible to like the soul remains, which are like the alluring skulls of demon souls. Um, so you kind of can make the run back a lot easier, but yeah, as you say out to, as you call out, like the um the skeletons on those like tight little paths outside are just so annoying to deal with. Definitely, if you can then go to the bigger golden ones.
Yeah, so I mean, factoring that in, yeah, for me, just short of S tier, but I do agree with the sentiment that, it's one of the gimmick bosses done right, and it's a sort of unique idea that I'm not sure that they've returned to in a like for like fashion in any of the subsequent 6 games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I give it a low A, high B. Probably would have given it a solid A, but then you reminded me about the run back, and yeah, that sucks.
yeah. I mean, I don't wanna hold the run back like accountable for the boss fight because like if we're gonna have to hold uh have that like for the entire list, I feel that they're all gonna drop down a couple of spaces. I would
I
still
mean,
say solid A tier.
yeah, I'm comfortable with that, but I do think I will say that run backs should factor in to some degree. They shouldn't be the defining factor, but they should factor in because I don't know about you, but they have a profound impact on my gameplay experience. And I know there's at least one game coming down the line where it definitely colors your experience as well, Ginge.
That's I'm just looking at the other ones. That's probably one of the worst. I can only see one other one that might be worse.
Mm,
But yeah, that's a bad run back.
yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's still like even with the run back, just because like as I point out, like with the soul remains and with like knowing where they are, it's still a solid A for me.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Um. That leads us to Vanguard. Now, Vanguard, you have like, I mean, you can fight him twice technically. Like the first time in the tutorial, you're kind of meant to lose to him, and the tutorial can be skipped. And then you have him in Shrine of Storms, just in the courtyard where he isn't really a boss. Like I feel that in the tutorial, his arena, like in order to make it like a proper fight, I would have made the arena a little bit bigger, like that you have more room to maneuver. Um, because I think that that's where most people kind of die because of him. Just the fact that they can't really get away from him. Whereas you can do that in the Shrine of Storms. In what is it, 5-1, 4-1, whatever,
4-1, yeah.
4-1, yeah. And like at the point where you fight him in 4-1, um, like he can be easily poisoned. You can do bleed damage. You can do stuff like that. Like he is very very exploitable when you fight him in 4-1. Whereas in the tutorial he is just, yeah, he's meant to kill you there.
Killer?
For me, yeah, it's pretty just middle of the road.
Yeah.
I think he's fair. His design is pretty cool. The arena, yeah, I probably agree with that. It could have been a little bit bigger, but like you said, you're designed to die to it.
Mm,
I also like the whole thing of when it's done properly, when they bring a boss back. So later you can get to fight it. I don't hate it when they bring them back as a regular enemy. I think he's a good example of that, of just he fit where they put him.
yeah, yeah.
For me, it's a tough one. I'm sort of split between B and C, and I'll explain why. On the one hand, I have to weigh the jiggle physics heavily because those were top notch. Um, but on the other hand, um, what I dislike about fighting the boss in 4-1, which is really what I'll base my judgment of, because I don't really think that fighting it in the tutorial is you know the experience I would grade. Is the fact that without the thief ring, fighting the guy is kind of hell. As you constantly get peppered by the spears off of the stingrays flying all around you,
Mm.
and that really impacts where you're forced to fight Vanguard, and also causes this awkward scenario where you get a couple of hits and then you have to flee to avoid the spears, and then have to kind of run back in and fight him again, which I don't particularly like. So I think for me, he's probably B minus or C plus. I'd be, open to either of those positions personally.
Well, I mean, the
Yeah.
stingrays, they are a thing there, and I can see where it would be like a nuisance, but it doesn't really, like, for me, it didn't really detract off the fight. Like, it
Yeah, so I don't even consider that part of it. Like I think it's cool that they brought them back as
yeah,
like a regular enemy, but I'm kind of only considering the initial boss fight as what I'm grading. But, like for
Yeah.
me, him that fighting him there, I don't really. That was more just a design thing. How I considered it. It was cool that they
mm,
brought him back, that you could fight him. But yeah, fighting him there is not fun.
Yeah, if I rate him using the lens that you're applying Killer, i.e., the experience in the boss fight with the boss HP bar, I'd probably be a bit more generous and bring it up to B plus. I don't think it's a especially interesting fight, because at the end of the day, he has a couple of punches he can throw at you that hit quite hard, and then the butt slam, which at times he sort of repeats, uh, in a sequence for a lengthy period of time.
Yeah.
But none of those moves are, bad or anything. So yeah, I'd say middle of the road B plus, where
He has that one thing where rocks can fall on you.
yeah,
That is a
mm,
little bullshit, but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I put him at just middle of the road B. He
yeah,
does his job.
yeah,
yeah, exactly. And like, I do want to, like, with the 4-1 fight against him, like, it's the stingrays with their spikes never really bothered me there. It's like, it's basically just a little extra environment in the fight, and it's a dangerous environment, yeah, sure, but like, I felt like it was still manageable there. Like, I didn't really experience the running away and then running back in and running away, running back in. Like, if you can manage to like circle him a bit and like position him differently, like, I feel that you I
Get
mean,
hit a
in my
bunch.
experience, I didn't really. Sorry, what was that, Killa?
No, just that you get hit a bunch. That's what it is. You don't run in and out. You just get hit. It's too hard to keep track of them. You're gonna get
yeah.
hit.
I would say it's not impossible by any stretch of the imagination. It's just an irritation. I think actually a very good parallel would be fighting Dragon Slayer armor in DS3, where the Chaos Butterflies
Mm,
are
yeah,
quite a nuisance, and can be very irritating, but there are definitely ways that you can mitigate exposure to their bullshit.
mm,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not like a defining characteristic of the fight for me, but
yeah,
just something that sticks in my mind.
Yeah.
yeah. I would put him into B tier with all of that in mind as well.
Yeah,
And then for both his fights, to be fair. Yeah. Flame Lurker. Um, I mean, like, if we're talking about, like, are we talking remake here or original? Because the Flame Lurker fights are one of the few things that did get some overhauls in the remake.
How much did they change?
Well, like, Flame Lurker is more aggressive. in the remake, there were a lot more places to actually hide and get him stuck on. In the original, frame drops were a huge issue in the original, like more than any of the other fights. The frame drops during Flame Lurker were just abysmal. Um, I think, and I'm not
The
100%
frame drops in the
sure.
OG, you mean?
Sorry, what was that, talk?
The frame rate drops in the OG, you mean, or in the remake?
In the OG. In the OG
Yeah,
were
that
very
makes
bad.
sense.
And then
Yeah,
Makes
I
sense.
think in OG he had um like he left little pools of lava behind on certain attacks.
Right.
Uh
so I thought he
I
was
think he
still
does that,
super
right?
aggressive in the OG.
I felt he was
Was
less
he less
aggressive than he is
aggressive?
now.
I kind of remembered him being more aggressive for some reason.
Really. I mean
Yeah, I could just be misremembering.
honestly, like in the OG, like he was very cheesable, more so than he is now. Like there
Yeah.
was
So as far
this
as that, like the getting caught, I think that's cheesy. Using it
yeah,
as a way to get some time away from him, like to block him and reset. But if you're getting him stuck on something to attack him from
mm,
there, that's that's getting into the cheese area
yeah,
of it. Because I think if you're using the environment to give yourself a little bit of time to regroup, that's that's cool. That's part of it. But getting him stuck where you just have to stand there and yeah, attack him. I
yeah,
think that would qualify as a cheese.
yeah, and I feel
Yeah,
that yeah, maybe it's partially that because like in the OG you can like get him stuck behind a lot of things, whereas in the remake you do have to use the environment more to like break his aggression. I think that might be it. Like in OG, I definitely used a lot more cheeses on him, and then I kind of got him stuck behind certain things a lot more, where I broke his aggression maybe more. Like for me, the remake is much more aggressive than he was in the past, but that might be the environment talking there as well.
yeah. There's also the I don't think he should lose aggro on you. I don't think that's right. I don't care if you have the thief ring or whatever. It's great
Mm,
for hitless, but
yeah,
I don't think that's well designed. He shouldn't completely lose aggro on you. He
I
can
agree
slow
with that.
down to try and get to you or whatever. That's
mm,
cool. I think that would be fair, but just yeah, you being able to run away and then just attack him while he's staring at the gate and forgot that you even came in there
yeah,
is yeah, I think that's a
Yeah,
design flaw.
I agree with that. That's kind of immersion breaking. Um, but for me, I mean, I think this is probably the best boss in Demon Souls. Um, it's kind of strange because I don't actually think Flame Lurker belongs in Demon Souls, given the pace of combat and animations in that game. It feels almost like a test for a Bloodborne boss than one for a Souls game, or at least the older Souls games like Demon Souls and Dark Souls. But it just functions really well. He does, when you start learning the fight, have some pretty good and clear openings. Um, and the arena is kind of very daunting and cool. The music is actually very good, both in OG and in the remake. The only really criticism that I have is that it might be perhaps the longest in terms of time spent run back in the entire game. If you have the misfortune of dying to him, you basically have to traverse the entire level, and that involves a
You can't,
series of platforming jumps.
no, you don't.
yeah, the drops aren't bad.
Yeah,
The
it's
drops
Yeah,
like
aren't
it's
bad to
just
get
like
back there.
annoying to have to do more than anything.
it's
If you
like
don't know the
Uh,
drops, then it's the worst.
yeah,
Not the
yeah,
worst, but then it sucks. But with the
yeah,
drops, it's not bad. You get back there pretty quickly.
yeah.
you
I
do,
was
yeah,
just thinking like with the drops you're there like in a minute, maybe a minute and a half. Like
yeah.
No,
But I
yeah,
mean, I guess
even
I'm
less than that.
almost
uh,
probably, yeah. I just don't find that particularly enjoyable personally.
Yeah.
Um, But again, like I said, I don't think that I should say I do think that the boss is so good that I'm able to kind of look past that minute or minute and a half wasted on running back to it. And I still feel pretty comfortable saying it's the best boss in the game by a significant distance.
Yeah, I think he's really cool. His moveset is fair. I remember there being a couple hitbox issues with some of his attacks. I didn't remember about the lava pools. If that was a thing, I don't know. That can be annoying sometimes, especially with how fast he is when they do it in other bosses. It makes it a little more manageable. But no, I really like him. I put him like, yeah, low S tier. Takes away from him a bit, just that he de-aggros from you.
Yeah.
Which I suppose also happens to King Allant. So I didn't take that into account, but I still prefer Allant to Flame Lurker. But
Yeah,
I put him
I guess
at
technically
worst high A, but I think low S is
yeah.
right.
And I guess
Spec brings up a
technically it helps.
decent point too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ginge.
Yeah, I was just pointing out that technically, I mean, I guess that happens with old hero as well, like losing the aggro, because you can be in that arena and he
Yeah.
can just keep walking up and down without ever actually spotting you.
Yeah, yeah. If you stay a reasonable distance away and don't really move, then yeah, he basically de-aggroes off of you. But I think it works there because that's sort of the gimmick of the
Yeah.
fight, if you will. Whereas with Flame Lurker, it doesn't make any logical sense.
Yeah.
So it feels much more immersion breaking. But I think
Yeah.
Specs actually got a very good point that, you know, the drops down to him result in a sort of wastage of healing materials every time, and that does feel a bit annoying. I will say that's counterbalanced by the fact that
All the healing in the
materials
world.
are
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. You can stockpile them like, you know,
Yeah.
you're America and you've got access to the defense budget.
Yeah, there's no limit really.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. But it is still kind of, you know, a little bit annoying that you have to take that damage, and if you, heavens forbid, miss one of the jumps, then the fall damage in the game is actually quite brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, as I said, I still really fancy the boss and would place it in the S tier first.
Yeah, I would play the mess tier as well. And then welcoming Smokey and welcoming Cliff.
Cliff is chuffed a bit with our DES appraisal.
I mean, I'm placing him after Old King Alarm because I do feel that Old King Alarm is a better fight than Flame Lurker.
Yeah, I think
I
I
was-
feel the reverse of Doc, where he like significantly puts Flame Lurker ahead. I'm the same way, but just the other way, the reverse of it.
Yeah.
I think to me a lot is significantly better.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Flame Lurker is a great fight.
Yeah, it's one of
exactly.
those hills that I'm not particularly willing to die on. I can see why you would like Alarm better.
What about Real Alarm? Real Alarm isn't even on the list. I'm just now noticing.
He's just goo.
Yeah.
I
He's
was
just a
wondering, do you think
slot.
we should like share our ratings first, and if we have like consensus, just kind of glaze through the boss and move to the next? Because otherwise, we'll be here forever with all of the games.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I kind of like discussing them.
I only say this because I want to get to the controversial games really quickly, like DS1, where I know that we're going to have substantial disagreement.
Yeah. Well, I think a couple of these maybe there'll be some arguments. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm thinking of a few. Although, yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
We'll
got a
see.
couple in mind that people might not agree with. Um,
But yeah, maybe we should like do the rating as the preamble and kind of decide from that.
Yeah.
okay. Adjudicator. Like, fighting him straight up, C tier.
D tier for me.
Yeah, D tier for me as well, and in regardless of whether it's conventional or cheesing from the top, I hate both.
Yeah.
No.
The gimmick is not something I enjoy. Being down there fighting him there is not enjoyable. His
And
design is not. I don't know. It doesn't. It doesn't do it for me. So he's not. He's not cool. The mechanic is kind of cool, sorta, but in theory, but in practice, no. D for me.
Uh,
also, shout out to a garbage run back that can only be shortened if you know how to do the regenerator ring skip.
yeah. Yeah, Spectrum. Adjudicator is the one in 4-1. No, hang on. We have 4-1. That's down like in the middle of that pit where you have to take all the stairs down, sword in the belly, and then you hit the belly a couple of times, he falls over, and you hit the bird on his head.
Yeah, it's also shit because he can fall over and it's a small space he can get into.
Yeah.
So then getting around, he does stay down for a while, but I don't know. It's just annoying to me.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me. If you have like the right damage, like you only need one cycle of him. He's kind of like again like one of those throwaway fights, but a more challenging throwaway fight.
Yeah, my thing with the throwaway fights, and you'll probably see this as we discuss more of the fights like that as we go along, is that if it's challenging, I kind of dislike it even more because if it's a throwaway fight, like say Volnir, I want to get over with it and move on to the good content. So having to actually time my dodges, keep an eye out for its tentacly things that it hits you with from the bottom, and all of that, and then being perennially afraid of the run back, just kind of makes it even worse for me as as you put it, a throwaway fight. So yeah, for me it's an unquestionable B tier.
I Glyph apparently is from a very different persuasion. He says he was like finally a real boss that isn't bullshit. Sick of the shitty boss when he got to Adjudicator, it saved the game for him. That's the first time I've ever heard anyone talk that way about Adjudicator.
I think Smokey also liked him. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I'm not that big of a fan
I
either.
I
Like,
think
yeah,
I think that's like a backhanded compliment Cliff is issuing. I think what he's really saying is the game was so awful until that point that that's the first time he felt it's playable.
Even by the game standard, though, I would put it low.
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree with you, Killer. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. That's what he said. It's that I hated everything before
Yeah.
so much less.
yeah. All right. Yeah, I would say like low C tier. Honestly, like I'm uncomfortable putting it like straight into D, but like low C.
Yeah, I can live with that. He's like a C minus D plus kind of thing. Not as bad as Dragon God, but
Yeah,
not much better.
yeah. That's kind of the thing as well. Like I don't think I think he's better than Dragon God. Like I think DS2 as a whole is better than Dragon God. But you know,
PS2 is better than everything.
oh, hush
Also, I
you.
wouldn't put him ahead of Dragon God.
Yeah,
See,
Dragon
this is
God's
why
fight
I
is worse, but like he looks cool. Judicator looks like shit, and he is shit.
oh,
Kinda.
yeah.
I think
See, this is why I'm
Killa,
desperate to get to DS2 today.
you're
Yeah. I'm fighting tooth and nail.
you're just basically fat shaming him now. Killa is saying that he doesn't look better than Dragon God.
No, I like Vanguard. He keeps it thick. Judicator just looks ugly.
Yeah, right.
And can we just, point out how fucking annoying the bird is with that cackle that it does to
Yeah,
indicate
it's
its
not
time?
cool. None of it is
Really? I
cool.
thought it was amazing.
It's
I thought
lame.
it was so annoying. The sound is so fucking annoying.
I don't know. I think that the bird for me actually motivated me to kill him.
Yeah.
Like it was
I
just
don't know
like
that it's a
yeah.
compliment that a feature of somebody makes you want to kill them, Jitch.
Yeah, no, I'd reverse those two.
Let me
Like,
put it this way: if I said Ginger's beard makes me want to kill him, would that be a compliment in favor of Ginger's beard? I'm not so sure.
yeah.
All right. Armored spider. Like
D,
Ah,
fuck
this is a
that.
good one.
Fuck that. Fuck that
This
fight.
is such a
It's
good
so
one.
dumb.
wow.
I love hearing thoughts on Armored Spider.
He's kind of cool, but it's terrible.
I know somebody in chat who viciously despises Armored Spider.
Bad.
Oh,
It's a bad fight. Getting hit with his jizz, and then you can't move, and then he combos you with the fireballs and dodging. Like all of it is just it's bad.
I
And
mean,
like it's his attacks are faster than they should be, especially the goo.
honestly, Killa, I think that the main issue is just just don't get jizzed on.
How many times did you hit list this game?
Oh wow,
That
wow.
was Killer. You're being too generous. I'd ask him an even more foundational question. How many times have you meleeed Armored Spider?
Well, I was gonna say that, but then I do magic him,
Yeah.
so it's for the
Yeah.
hit list. But yeah, it's just not enjoyable. You can get killed immediately, and then you get oh yeah, I don't know.
Dude,
That attack should be a little slower.
if melee was the only way to play that fight, it would be in the running for the worst FromSoft boss ever for me, up
Mm.
with Bed of Chaos and a few others. Fortunately, that's not the case, and also you can get the lava bow around the time you fight him, which basically tears him apart from range. Um, so yeah, I feel a little bit kinder because that option exists. I'd probably have him in the D plus territory. I still hate Dragon God even more. But yeah, there's very little
I mean,
positive I can say about Armored Spider, other than perhaps the fire looks stunning in the remake when he sprays the oil and then it catches fire.
am I alone in this that I'm putting him into B? Like,
B
B is
B.
charitable.
Shut
B
the
is a
fuck up.
yeah.
reach.
I
B
mean,
is a reach.
Mhm.
I like the fight. Like, it's a great design. It and honestly, it's an easy clap. Like whether or not like if you do it with fist weapons, it's easy even. If you do it with bare fists, it's an easy fight. Like of course, I understand like from a hitless perspective,
That's
it's
why
not
it's
gonna be
garbage.
fun.
Once you get up there, the run up to him is not fun. And then once you get there, he's absolute trash.
Yeah,
I kind of
no,
like the fight.
there's no world I could reach to B tier personally.
Like a lot of it is just like okay, like definitely if you do it ranged, there are spots inside his tunnel basically that guarantee you never get hit by anything. It's a free fight. It's a free clap.
Just because
See, the thing
something's
with
free doesn't make it good.
absolutely what I had in mind, Killer. Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself.
I,
There's free garbage downstairs. You don't see me dipping my head in the bins.
I
This
still
hamburger is good. I took it right out of the garbage. I didn't even have to work to pay for it or cook it or anything.
I like the design as well. Like, and then the moves never felt like bullshit to me. Like thematically, like pure from a design point, and then like the theme of like him being a spider in like fire mine stuff. His attacks just also make sense for what he is. And yeah, I mean, even the run up isn't that bad in my opinion.
I
The run
mean,
up is
yeah,
just like an elevator ride, right?
Yeah,
yeah, I don't think the run up weighs in too much. It's just and it doesn't have to because the rest of the fight is it speaks for itself really. Yeah, no. To be very honest with you, the only redeeming factors I can put out that make it a bit better than Dragon God for me is visually it's quite an impactful fight, and I do think it's kinda, I guess, cool that it's a fight that is more fun to do with a bow in a game that's generally oriented at melee type play for non-magic users. Um, but even then, man, I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel to try and say something nice about the boss.
I won't
and
accept anything higher than a low C.
oh no,
Yeah,
I
I
would
would even say D killer. I think you're being
Yeah,
generous.
I
honest
do think D, but if Ginge wants it higher, you're not getting any higher than a C minus.
honestly, it to me it's like right underneath Vanguard. It's definitely
No,
better than Adjudicator. Come on.
no, it's not.
What do you mean? No,
I
it's
just, I
not.
just, yeah, I don't think we're gonna agree. Yeah, we're just not gonna agree. I think everyone in chat can. Killer and I just vehemently disagree with your position on this.
Yeah, it's Cliff points it out. It's so this is Ginge versus reality, and Killah and representing reality.
Yeah,
Like it's a B tier, guys. Come on. Like I'm willing to concede to upper C
B
tier,
tier.
but it's definitely a B tier.
No. Okay, now I won't move past D because of this bullshit you're spouting.
Okay,
We were
B.
being generous with the
There we go.
D.
B tier. Next one.
I just want to be clear, chat. We vehemently disagree.
You, didn't Killah say B
You
tier?
can't.
That's what
You
I heard.
can't. You can't be
I'll put him.
C.
I'll put him ahead of Adjudicator. I'm sorry, but this is better fight than Adjudicator.
Sure. I also had adjudicator in D.
Yeah.
Let's move on before you find rocks going through your window, Ginge.
Man Eater. The basically the original duo fight. I mean C tier, mainly because of the small walkways you fight them on.
Killer?
I could almost put it in A minus, probably B because there's annoying things, but each one in themselves are really cool. They have a cool move set. I like the way they look. The arena, I'm okay with the arena. It's like part of the difficulty. They could have done one or the other kind of thing. Have the
Yeah.
other man eater come in later. So yeah, high B, low A for me.
Yeah, I really actually enjoyed Maneater, if I'm honest. I really like the fight. I would have even gone S potentially on it, but I'm open to, A, for instance. Because I do think that they do something that not very many duo fights from Software Design does, which is they have fairly decent separation. They separate reasonably well, and one of them doesn't even really join the fight until you're almost halfway through, or I think exactly halfway through the first one,
Mm.
which kind of makes managing them quite easy or relatively easy compared to other famous duo bosses. I think they're fun both with melee and with magic. With magic, it's kind of cool that you can hit them while they're flying as well, but with melee, I think
Yeah.
they're a good time too. Um, I'm not a fan of the run back. There is a phantom mind flare on the way that I viciously dislike and caused many of my neighbors to issue notices to evict me from the apartment
Mm.
because of obscenities I yelled.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the whole, I really like the fight. I would
And
even make a case for S tier, but would be okay with A tier.
one, yeah, another couple things that I would say is it has the same thing where they'll just lose aggro
Mm.
Yes,
in the middle of the
yeah,
fight, and quite a few times I've had it where the man eater has fucked off and then won't come back, like fly up
Yeah.
toward the back of the arena, fly up high, and won't come back.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is what Spectrum also points out. The
yeah,
jankiness of their AI. Like a lot of times they'll hover next to the bridge and struggle to get back on.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I concede that for
yeah,
sure.
like that's a part of as well that I'm just hating about the whole fight. Like they tend to fly off then, but if you're in the middle of a melee attack, at that point you still have like you're still partially locked on, and then due to their janky AI, you're in trouble of maybe falling off when you're too close to the edge. And then for some reason they then rush you again with that rush attack from mid-air. and
Yeah.
that just knocks you off and knocks you straight off the bridge. Like their AI is what makes the fight so unbearable for me. Like it's like if it had better AI, I would say like A tier or low A, high B. But like their AI just makes that fight so obnoxious.
Yeah,
With
I
better
would
AI,
prefer to.
yeah,
Go
with
ahead.
better AI, it would be solid A and have a case for S. But no, there are things that drag it down.
Yeah, I'll definitely defer to you guys because you've fought them significantly more than I have. But yeah, I do concede the AI piece because I also did notice that they seem to have difficulties with revisiting the bridge once they take off, which does feel a bit weird and out of place.
Like, to me, I would place them between Armor Spider and Adjudicator.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think that's very low personally. I would
yeah,
have them in
no,
the A tier.
I would put it below Old Hero or ahead of Dirty Colossus.
Yeah. The thing is, like, your armored spider position has basically fucked up the entire tier list now. So every time you mention something, I'm gonna have to think about how to place it in relation to your armored
You're
spider thing.
right. Armored Spider has fucked up the list very much. So you're right.
Yeah, moving
Um,
into S tier.
I don't know. I still think like wait, can I not? There we go. Like Armor Spider should just be A tier. But no. Like seriously, like Man Eater, just the AI fucks it up so badly.
Yeah, no, I can see that. That anytime there's immersion breaking AI behavior, that
That
definitely should be factored in.
yeah, I still think it should be high B for the potential. And you can get certain fights where it's a good fight. It's
Yeah,
just inconsistent.
yeah, but I mean, if like
Armored Spider is never going to be a good fight.
Armor Spider is already a good fight.
No.
The thing about Man Eaters, like you can't rate them on their potential because Dragon God had a lot of potential as well.
That's completely different. That is not equivalent.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have much agreement on this
Yeah,
again, so
no, I
let's
think yeah.
take what you get and move on situation.
Fool's Idol, like A tier.
Oh my god, Ginge.
No way. Ain't no
You're
way, bro.
this is a joke.
No,
A tier.
I love Fool's Idol.
Oh my
Fool's Idol is a
god.
great fight.
Oh my
Killer,
god.
what are you thinking?
Now I want to give it an F because he said A. That was outrageous. I would give it like a C. A C.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's fair.
no, I can't give it any higher with those goddamn traps they lay. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
I
traps
so
take it
here's
out.
The traps aren't
I
an
feel like
issue.
this. Okay, but they are though. Sometimes when there's multiple of them aggroed on you, they are an issue. Um, look, traps aside, I feel like I have two fundamental issues with that fight. One is that if you have no fire damage, it takes an eternity to kill them. And sometimes, just by virtue of opting for something or the other, you don't have fire damage. So I find that to be a really awful restriction placed on the player that you must have some sort of fire on hand to dispatch the boss. The other thing is, again, the run back guys, bro. It don't try and tell me that's a good run back. I don't even want to hear it.
Oh, the run back is abysmal. Like Mind Flayers or just the worst enemy in the game.
Yeah,
Yeah, I cannot see a world where anyone would want to place it above C. Other than, I mean, the only kind of redeeming factors for me are, the arena in the remake at least is quite visually striking.
Mm.
I do think it's kind of a fun mechanic, that it's sort of a Where's
see,
Waldo sort of fight. But it gets real old with the traps that Killah mentioned, and the fact that when you do find Waldo, you don't get enough damage in if you don't have fire on hand.
Also, yeah, the arena is good. For some reason, I remember the music being good. We really should have the theme playing in the background. That would have been cool for next time.
Yeah.
But yeah, the arena is cool. She looks cool. And something else we're forgetting is the fucking old guy you have to kill, or she just
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
die.
That's
Fuck
very
off.
true.
That's not a cool puzzle. Eat my dick.
And
Exploration
with
this
that.
and that, but fuck off.
You know, you guys are more seasoned Demon Souls players than me, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not entirely sure the game gives you any indication that that's a necessary component
It
to the fight.
doesn't. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Because, you know, I might be dumb, I don't know, but like I have on a recent playthrough on my second, which was well after I played the game for the first time, I didn't remember this piece, and so I ended up killing the boss. I need to realize that the fight you can't be transported to 3-2 at the end because you didn't kill the old guy, and so I ended up killing the old guy, and lo and behold, I have to do the entire fight again now.
Yeah.
But yeah, come on, no man, this got to be a C.
Yeah,
C
all
for
right.
me.
I understand, like with the old man thing. Yeah, there is absolutely no indication in the game whatsoever that you need to go up there and then kill that dude. Like, even when if you find the tower and you go up the tower, like you're still like, okay, this is just one long ass path. It's the same thing as on the other side. I mean, yeah, sure, there's a spot down there where you can drop and then you can pick up an item. But I think also like maybe first time players will just see the item and be like, okay, this is what this walkway was for, to drop down here and get this item. Like I can
Yep.
definitely understand that part, but like
It's one of these things. It's okay. It's all of these things.
Yeah, and really quick to respond to Cliff, I don't think it's, you know, an issue that you have to kill the old man either, other than the fact that the old man doesn't aggro when you go there. And so my inclination, and this might be because I've played other FromSoft games before I played Demon Souls, was that the old man is some sort of NPC character that you get to speak to after you kill the boss or later on in the game. And so I just ran past him, not realizing that killing him is central to progression of the game.
Yeah. And sure, you can make the connection because I think they have the same like sigil or whatever that they're casting.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. One of these
But
things
that's only
are
after you enter the
forgivable.
boss once already,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, which that's infuriating. Killing somebody but not killing somebody.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a reason why they keep repeating the same thing, like destroy or kill one person in order to kill the boss. Like we had this in the seed fight as well, where you had to destroy the crystal in order to win the fight. Like to me, it's the
Is
same
that a good
thing.
thing? It's not a good thing.
No, not for me either. They do the same thing with Renala. I didn't think it was great in Renala either.
I don't know. In Ronaldo, I mean, okay,
I would say
not.
Renala, I like that
Yeah.
one better.
I like it better, but I don't think it's, you know, particularly memorable. I never really look forward to it.
I don't even hate it in the Seath fight. I don't like it. But no, we've just named 7 different things wrong with this fight.
Yeah.
Well,
if it was just the old guy and then that was fine, there was no traps, there was no extra stupid assholes to get in your way, and it was just a bunch of clones, okay, cool. It's fine. It's an okay fight. But you put all of those things together, and it's just... Look at how many things we named. Look at how many things you had to defend, Ginge.
Yeah, let me
poorly,
start
by the way.
defending them.
I think like a D tier rating than I would be to a B or certainly an A.
Like,
I won't allow you to put it above man-eaters.
oh, it's going above Dirty Colossus. Like, I'm willing to put it in B
No,
tier,
it's
but it's
not.
gonna be the first spot in Dirty Colossus.
You are a fucking fascist if you put it there. This is not close at all.
Right.
Yeah, it's better than Man-Eaters by a million miles.
No,
Like,
it's outrageous that you
First-
put Man-Eaters in C when you originally said C, and then we were A and B and S. and then you dropped it in fucking C, and not even a high C.
I
I
mean,
won't
look,
allow Fool's Idol to be anything other than D.
everyone in chat is saying the same thing. Nobody agrees with your position on this, Ginge.
No, I know, but the thing is, like, and as Bell puts it, like, why even do the tier list with people if you don't listen to? Like, I listen. This is the part of like, and I've said this in the beginning of the stream. Like, the thing is, people ask me to do this tier list, to hear my takes on all these bosses, and like we agreed, like we were gonna do it with a couple of people, have different opinions on everything. But I was under the impression that people wanted to see my tier lists, and that's the thing that's on screen.
That's fair, but you're so wrong. I want to
Yeah,
reiterate to everybody how wrong you are.
yeah.
It's a fucking D.
I think it's shocking that there's even a discussion to be had between Maneater and Fool's Idol.
I mean, honestly, like Fool's Idol has a great arena, has a great design. Um, the traps aren't even that big of an issue because usually, and in most cases, the actual boss, like if you target the clones, they have a hell bar. If you target the actual boss, you'll find that she does not have a hell bar above her head, and she is usually the one who does not have any traps between you and her.
Sure, but how does that address any of the 69 issues we raised?
What do you mean no traps between you and her?
If you stick to the sides, and like if you stick to the usually it's the left side where there are the least traps, and if you actually go up to her, like up to the point, like if she spawns in the middle of the arena, and then the her clones
Yeah.
are like in the back and in the front. If you actually walk up on the left side to the middle of the arena and then make a straight line to the boss, 9 times out of 10 you will not get traps.
Also, I
No.
mean, to
Yeah.
address what you
Behind
said. Go ahead, Killer.
yeah, no, just to hide behind, because you can't reach everybody, like depending where you are. So you're just gonna hide behind a pillar, look at one person, and then run over to another pillar, try and lock onto that person,
Yeah.
walk into a fucking trap, do the same thing, and then there's these dudes being annoying, chasing you. Sure, they suck, but still.
You can also get stuck in the furniture, by the way. You have to actually
Yeah,
clear the furniture out before you
yeah.
take on the boss. But yeah, no, call me a snob or someone who's expecting too much, but I don't find it particularly engaging or interesting to have to lock on to multiple targets and figure out which one's the actual boss. So I don't know that
Again,
that's actually a redeeming quality, Ginge.
that in itself is fine. One of those all on their own are fine, but it's just all of them.
Yeah, for me, it's a no-brainer C, and I'd be very sympathetic to a D case as well.
Honestly, I really don't agree. Like, I always enjoyed the fight. Like, after like the whole run up to her, the fight is pleasant compared to the
I mean,
level.
again, this is again a case of we're just not going to agree, and I really want to get to DS1, so let's move on to the next boss.
I'm sorry, I'm putting it ahead of Dirty Colossus.
Outrageous.
Yeah, yeah. If it was up to me, it would be after Old Hero, but I'm willing to take these things into account.
You're such a fucking simp. Sure, she's
I
hot.
think
That's it.
it,
Wait, are you not allowed
it,
to
it,
say that? I can't
it,
remember.
it's actually quite amusing to me that the boss is named Fool's Idol and Ginger's lapping it up.
Oh
Ah, that is
wow,
very good. Very good.
wow. Old Monk, like Old Monk has two possible fights, and it kind of depends which one you get, like how it's gonna go. Like it's the original Half-Life, like if you get another
I don't.
player in there, it can be like an S tier, mainly because you're PvPing against maybe someone at your skill level. Like if you get a bad player against you, it's a D tier because there's no challenge. But like if you get just the normal NPC, I would say high C, low B.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. I
yeah,
don't like
me
them
too.
forcing the PvP on you, which they aren't because you can go offline.
Mm,
But I love the idea behind it.
yeah,
It's so cool.
yeah.
Such a cool
Yeah,
idea. I hate PvP, but I don't hate this. The furniture again is stupid. It breaks
Mm,
easily, but it's stupid. The cutscene going in is very cool as well. Yeah, no, I'm cool with a B on this one.
yeah, me too. You have to,
I
tip
wouldn't
your
even
hat
hate an
to.
A to be honest.
yeah.
Yeah, you just have to tip your hat to, a developer trying something that hasn't really been done before. Um, even if the execution is not perfect, you have to respect that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be fine with a B or even potentially an A minus.
Yeah, I think B is fair.
Yeah. Um, there. Uh, Phalanx. I mean, it's low C, high D for me.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a D for me.
Yeah, same. It's just a very boring fight. Again,
Yeah.
if you have fire, it's a completely meaningless
Yeah.
experience at the end of arguably the longest, area clearance section to a boss in the entire game. Um,
Mm,
but if you don't have fire, it's just irritating, but still not particularly hard.
There are
Yeah,
7 things that shouldn't be below Fool's Idol on this list, Cliff.
yeah, I would put it in a sort of C minus situation where I don't despise it, but I don't race it either.
Yeah, to
yeah.
me it's lame. I don't like the way it looks, the way it moves, the mechanics. Yeah, it's a D. I'm fine with a C,
Yeah.
but yeah, it doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah. And then as Doc say, like if you have fire, it's just such a throwaway fight. And I think we were talking about this like in a previous stream that like everything in this starting area in the first area you get to of Demon Souls is basically just geared to get as much fire in there as you can. Numerous fire bombs to put up to pick up like the fire grease to put on your swords. Like yeah, it's obvious that the game tells you like use fire against this guy and you're gonna have an easy time with it. And yeah, I
With
love
fire, without fire, just a lame fight to me.
yeah,
Yeah, same.
yeah. I'm putting it
I
like
just want to get past it so I can play the game.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm putting it ahead of Dragon God, but still in D tier.
Yeah, that's fair.
Storm
yeah,
King.
I don't agree.
Storm King is another
Storm
one of those
King,
gimmick fights.
Storm King, looks cool. It's bad for me. I don't like it. The best
Yeah,
strat is to fucking hide and
yeah,
wait.
in that one house with
Yeah.
with no roof.
There's nothing that
Yeah,
tells you you need a special sword for it. If you have magic, I guess that's fine. But you're like, they're throwing shit at you all over the place, and you're expected to
Mm,
run around the arena looking for something. Mm, nah,
yeah,
yeah.
I
Without
don't
the
like it.
B string, it's a very painful experience, in my opinion.
Yeah,
yeah. Like I
yeah.
Um,
think like they did the same thing basically with Yorm later on in DS3, but like with a much smaller arena, and then you pick up basically the same weapons, the Storm Ruler. Um, but
I think that
like
they did it better that way.
yeah, it was a lot more noticeable. Like, oh, I see the item there, I need to pick it up there, and that's probably what I need to use. Like same thing with Rykards, um, where you get like the Great Serpent Hunter like right when you enter. But with Storm King, it's like all the way in the back of a rather massive arena, and you're just getting pelted the
Yeah, it's
entire
very
time.
hidden.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't
And it's
really.
hard,
Show.
it's so difficult to look at everything. They can be coming from different angles.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just not good. With Yorm, you can keep an eye on Yorm. With Riker, they give it to you right away. That's perfect. It's right there. I don't even think I would have noticed Yorm's item if I'm being honest, but I'm bad for that. But it looks really cool.
Yeah,
I
it
like
looks
the
really
look
cool.
of it.
Yeah, I think if I can, make one concession to merit its placement in the C tier instead of the D is I think the sound design in the fight is absolutely outstanding. Like I played Demon Souls as my first game on the PlayStation 5, and when you enter the arena, the sound of the rain and the thunder and the various stingrays issuing that sort of loud sort of shriek that they do,
Mm.
it's very, very impactful, and in many ways was sort of my oh wow, we're in the new console generation moment. So I really enjoyed that and
If
kind of give it a concession.
if they did Serpent Hunter style, this could even be an A fight to me.
Yeah, yeah.
There's places to hide, there's all this stuff, but yeah, because then that way you can start killing some of them right away.
Mm.
And then, yeah, I don't know. I think if they gave it to you right away, they could make the little manta rays or whatever a little bit quicker. So it's slightly harder to hit them. Then that would have been okay. Because like if you got it right away and then they're there, you can kill them too easily.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. The for me it's a C.
Yeah, and then like even when you enter the arena first, like if you have a bow or you have magic, like there is a spot like early in the arena where you can stand where you will not be hit by any of the attacks, and you can just like snipe everything from that end. And when the boss arrives, the actual Storm King, like even that spot is safe for most of his attacks, and you just shoot up at him as he passes. Like it's a very spectacle heavy fight. Um, and then there's a lot going on there in the arena itself. But like the boss fight itself, yeah, like give the Storm Ruler straight away, and then you have a great fight. But the way they did it now is just it's not good. Like I would say B tier.
I'm cool with B.
Yeah, B minus or C plus C anywhere in that range would be fine with me personally.
I'd put it bottom of B.
I would put it be above Vanguard. Like yeah, I don't know. I just feel that Vanguard is a worse fight than. I mean, yeah,
Vanguard's a very
Uh,
basic fight to me. It's the definition of mid.
yeah,
yeah, the thing for me with Vanguard and Storm King is if I bring in all of my experiences across the other seven games, then Vanguard starts to feel like a very tired concept. And I
Yeah.
have to be charitable then to Storm King because it's a less tired concept, though we have seen Storm King S bosses as well.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, if I remember my experience with the two, I think I disliked Vanguard less than I disliked fighting Storm King without the Thieves Ring on hand.
Yeah, I don't, for me, Storm King is higher than Vanguard mainly because of the gimmick. Like the just the fact that it's like it has that arena, it has that atmosphere around it. Like, yeah, it sucks that you have to get Storm Ruler, but it's a more majestic fight, Storm King. Whereas Vanguard is like this is the original Asylum Demon, original Earth Avatar, um, and and then even in its later iterations, it's just a throwaway fight, and Vanguard to me isn't that much special compared to Storm King.
I'm
Yeah, I mean,
fine
I
with
can live
that.
with it. Yeah, it's not a hill I'm willing to die on.
Uh, then next up is Tower Knight. Um, honestly, high B.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I'm less charitable personally. I'd have it in the C's because I despise the run back. The run back is infuriating. And I think that if you don't fight the boss in the back half of its arena, you basically have to every single time clear out the archers before you fight the Town Knight, as they're just going to pelt you with arrows throughout and make a mess of the fight. So yeah, personally, I would be, I feel at my generous best if I placed it at C plus. I'd actually probably want to place it at C or C minus.
I'm okay with the gimmick. You go kill the other guys
Mm.
first. Initially, I'd be so salty, but after, like, you figure out what you should be doing, he's slow enough that you can be like, okay, I can go kill these guys, and it's safe to go kill the guys. He has a pretty obvious tell. Um, you have cover, so yeah, I'd put it like B.
Yeah, I agree with Killah there. Like, yeah, like if you die to Tower Knight, it is a slog to like. I mean, if you do it multiple times, it is a slog to always run back up the stairs, kill all the archers around the arena, run back down. Um, but it works. Like they've done this concept in multiple of the other titles as well, and like I feel that it's more egregious in the other titles than it is in this one. Um,
That's actually a very interesting take because I assume you're alluding to One Reborn, right?
One Reborn, yeah,
Yeah, for me, I actually think it's more. I don't want to get into One Reborn discussion right now before we jump into Bloodborne, but I actually think it's more feasible to fight One Reborn without dealing with the let's call them witches or whatever, than it is dealing with fire with Tower Knight having not dealt with the archers, because in Demon Souls, at most instances, you have half your HP bar and everything does a lot of damage. So if you take like 2 or 3 arrows and then, by mistake clip the boss, you're dead. Whereas in Bloodborne, I think with the faster dodges, the 20 heals that you have on hand that are rapid, and the size of the arena and the size of One Reborn, you can actually shield yourself from a lot of the witch damage. Having said that, I don't like One Reborn either. So
The one thing about One Reborn is the entrances, like they're in the back of the arena, right?
hmm
On Tower Knight, you can see your staircases right away. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
they do a better job of telling you what you should be doing, how you should be
that's
doing
true.
the fight.
yeah,
So I
Yeah,
think it's better in that sense. I don't hate the One Reborn.
yeah.
Also for this fight, it's really good if you have Crystal Homing Mass and you're at like 60 mad intelligence because you one shot him. So you don't have to do anything. You
Yeah,
just run behind him and then he's dead.
yeah. And definitely with like magic and well any range damage really. Be it magic, be it arrow, be it even fucking crossbow, that doesn't scale with anything. Fuck you, FromSoft. Um, it's so easy to just target its head, from being down at the bottom or even from like on top. Like it's just so easy. Like yeah, you need to take out its ankles if you're melee, and then go for the head, and then yeah, okay, that takes a little bit longer, but like it
What do you
is.
think should scale with a crossbow? You're better
maybe
at just
Dex.
moving your finger? It's
I
loaded in
think
there.
Dex.
You don't have to. There's no dex. It's loaded in there. It's just
I
aiming.
mean, it's a game though, Killer. Come on.
Yeah, I
No,
mean,
they should
Uh,
have ADP in this game too. Why should you get to as many frames
what
if you're
what
not as
what
agile as I am?
I mean, you pointed out like agility, like I don't know, but like it's the same with a bow, then, isn't it?
I was meaning there. No, there's more skill in using a bow than a crossbow. A crossbow, it like sits in. It's a gun basically.
Yeah, but I would think like that with well, there you have it. It's a gun. So blood tinge.
yeah.
Blood tinge,
I mean,
okay. We'll put blood tinge into the demon souls.
Yeah, put blood tinge into Demon Souls. Now, but I think like something like, for instance, strength, because like if you look at it like from a historical standpoint, like it took a lot of strength to actually wield crossbows because they were heavier than normal bows. They took a longer time to reload. You need to have like a lot of pull in order to actually load a crossbow. Like later, it was better with like the crank and everything, but like
I think
originally,
that,
yeah,
yeah, if they made you reload it quicker, that'd be cool. But that's it. Also, this isn't a boss though.
yeah, no, I know, but yeah, so Tower Knight B.
Actually,
I
can we
also
rate crossbow as a boss?
Okay, we who what?
Yeah.
I also sympathize with what Spec is saying because that was my experience as well. The run back inevitably ends up costing you some healing materials, and because most people fight Tower Knight before they've gotten access to the merchant for healing materials and any viable farm for healing materials, it actually ends up being quite a drain on your resources, and you have to basically farm enemies to go and buy them from the Nexus. And I found that very tedious. So it basically becomes a case where if you first try Town Knight, great, but if you die, it's a pretty miserable experience for me. So for me, yeah, it's like I'm okay with
I
it.
don't know. Like I think if you just get hit less stock, you would have more healing left. You know, get good scrub.
Yeah, yeah, I really should take instruction from your gameplay in that regard, Ginge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on, I really want to get to DS1. I don't care about DS.
Leechmonger. Um, like high C.
D.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with both. You know, anywhere between B and C plus is fine by me.
Oh, I
And there's
said
really
D.
not much to say.
But you
Oh,
said
I
D.
said
D.
D.
Damn.
It's a terrible fight.
Why is it a terrible fight?
It's bad. You have to run all the way down to him. Again, having to run down to a boss is kind of annoying. It's basically Dragon God. Not this fight, but I'm just saying having to run to them is
Mm,
annoying. And then he'll also heal, which is annoying. And you get, he can put leeches on you, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, that's annoying too.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
don't know that
annoying.
I'm
His
at
move set
D.
is just, he has no move set. It's, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm,
He has no moveset's the key for me actually in this regard because yes, everything you described is quite irritating, but because the fight is fundamentally quite simple and easy, I doubt very many people didn't first try the boss and move on, so I'm, a bit more charitable and willing to place him in, the C or C minus sort of territory.
yeah, it's just not fun to me. You run down if you're melee, it's annoying. If you have magic, you just sit up top and hopefully
Mm,
you have the DPS to
Yeah.
yeah.
fight against his healing. It's lame.
Yeah. I mean, but okay. Like the thing is, like Leechmonger has those leeches. Dirty Colossus has the as the flies. Like, to me, it's the same mechanic. Only like with Dirty Colossus, you can get rid of them in the arena, whereas with Leechmonger, you just have to take it basically.
That's
Um,
what I mean.
but like
That's a
they,
huge difference to it.
yeah, but they don't stay on that long, and
And I
like
think you can get them off if you have a torch, no?
um, I'm actually not sure.
I think that's
I
DS3 with those other guys, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
definitely
It
in
kind of
DS3.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely in DS3, but I think you could do that in Demon Souls. I'm not sure
and
though.
honestly,
Don't
like
quote me on that.
even the leeches, like the when he shoots at them, like it's pretty avoidable.
Yeah, no, it's no challenge. It's no challenge at all, which is why I'm okay with placing it in C. It's just a boring boss. It's not a
Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah. I mean, I'm good with C. Um, but it's definitely better than man eaters. Uh,
No.
penetrator.
He doesn't have any fucking moves. He's not even a boss.
Exactly. I mean, half the times in Demon Souls, and this is real. This shows you that this is the beginning of the FromSoft arc. It doesn't even matter which direction you dodge in. Basically, every direction works.
Yeah,
Like, Now you have to actually, for example, fighting Radahn in the DLC, you need to see where he's swinging from because it determines where you have to dodge to in order to avoid the attack. But back then, you could basically avoid any attack by dodging anywhere so long as you press the dodge button.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Penetrator. Like,
Very good
Penetrator's
fight.
an A for me.
yeah,
Almost
Yeah,
S.
same.
yeah,
Same.
same.
And one of the one really minor thing, he's just a good boss. He's a dude in armor, which is normally good. He has a good move set.
Mhm.
He looks cool, his sword, everything. But also at the beginning, his cutscene is so satisfying. He
Yeah,
goes in and fucking impales that guy. Shout out to Artorias for stealing that. But it's a dude who is just so fucking annoying to you the
yeah,
entire time.
yeah,
Those
The official, yeah,
jesters, whatever they're called. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Like, yeah,
So
I
absolutely.
also think the graphical fidelity on the stasis effect he has on his blade in the remake is stunning.
yeah, yeah.
Well, like, I mean,
I'm
Nuke.
I'm good S.
I would like,
A as well.
yeah. I don't think he's better than Old Hero. Like, I'm comfortable with A, but I don't think he's better than Old Hero because, like, Penetrator, his AI can be very easily manipulated.
Yeah. Arguably it's the same thing with Old Hero.
Yeah, true.
I think the one reason why he falls short of S tier for me is in a game that incentivizes exploration. If you explore well enough and happen to release the NPC tied to him,
Mm.
the NPC basically comes and commandeers the fight, and you become an idle spectator as he solos the boss.
Don't you
Yeah,
still
that's
need to
Um,
true.
summon him?
that really ruined. No, you don't. He just jumps in himself. You don't have any choice,
Oh, okay.
which is, I think, yeah, real downside, and actually ruined my experience with that boss on my first playthrough of the game. The second time I ended up fighting him on my own.
Mm.
So yeah, that keeps it short of S tier for me, but otherwise, I think it's one of the best design fights in the game.
Yeah.
I like Spectrum's point as well. Maybe that keeps it out of S tier. But those 4 moves
Yeah.
are very satisfying. They're
That's true.
fair.
Yeah, and I mean, who has more than 4 moves in Demon Souls? Though is the
Yeah.
other thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's an old game. Nobody has Radahn's sort of repertoire in Demon Souls.
Yeah. Penetrator is so fucking easy. Yeah, Penetrator is like he's It's easy to manipulate. And
Here's the thing. Penetrator's easier once you know it. All of these fights are easy once you know them.
yeah,
Yeah, there's
yeah,
a
true.
reason Ginge has a deathless run in Demon Souls.
Oi, I got one in Dark Souls 1 as well with all bosses. Fuck you, Doc.
Oh, Dark Souls 1.
Hey,
That
Artorias
famously
is not an
painful
easy
game.
fight. Neither is Calamite.
You're
Yeah.
talking. There's a
Calamate's
guy on
annoying.
this line who hitless the entire game at SL1. That
He
can't be
did.
that bad.
It's pretty easy. I'm bad at games and I did that, so
Dude, you're basically better than Gino at this point, dude, so shut the fuck up.
thank you. I don't know why people pretend like he's better.
But anyway, let's move on to a very controversial boss, Maiden Estrella.
Maiden Estrella is not a boss fight. You
A.
fight you fight an
A.
NPC. You fight an NPC and then you
That
get to
sentence
her
better not
and
end at A, Killer.
A.
what?
Yeah.
C.
No, I might even go D, guys. I hate that fight.
That's
First
fair.
of all, you
I
don't
like
fight her, you fight that fucked up NPC who never drops his fucking shield and is apparently immune to all fucking damage.
And hits like a. It's actually an understatement.
Wait,
to
does
say it
he
hits
have a
like truck.
shield?
He does.
He does, yeah. And then when you actually kill him, after chipping away at his health for 3 hours straight, you get down to a poisonous swamp where you can't stay in because the moment you take 2 steps in that swamp, you got heavy poisoning. And only then you get to like the actual boss fight, and I'm using heavy codes here, where the only move she has is begging for her life and slightly pushing you away.
She doesn't
Yeah.
beg for her life.
Yeah, she does.
She just fucking dies.
No, she expresses like disapproval or something. She says like you're a blasphemous creature or something along those lines.
Because you are.
Yeah, I
In
am.
every FromSoft game, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, I am a
Yeah, but
blasphemous creature, and I deserve to die, but she
Yeah.
deserves to die more.
No, she's
Yeah,
helping
right.
people. I like the lore. She's a good guy.
She used to be, but I don't
Yeah.
think she is when the game takes place, right?
I think
Because
she's
she's
trying
been
to help all
corrupted by
the
the demon soul.
diseased people.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah.
no, it's a D for me. It's a D plus.
Yeah, it's a C for me.
I really dislike that fight and actively avoid it as long as I can.
Yeah. Hey, welcome in, Nico.
Hey, Nico,
Hey, Nico, how's it going?
is there a way to adjust Killer's volume for the viewers? For us, it's
I
pretty
don't
good.
know. The volume was fine for the rest of it, so I'm not sure.
I can go closer to my mic if that helps.
I can up your volume here a bit. There we go. Well, there we have it. Tier list for Demon Souls.
I have a
Other
question
than
for you,
s-
Ginge.
What? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Killer.
Oh, just other than a couple that are absolutely outrageous. Did you move Armored Spider, you stupid son of a bitch? Other than a couple, this kind of makes sense, right? With the games, the most is going to be mid, and then you'll have a couple outliers. But yeah, there's definitely a couple there that should be D.
My question to you, Ginges, is now looking at your thoughts on a board, are you surprised because you've been arguing that Demon Souls has better bosses than DS3?
Well, yeah, and that's because I made consensus that Fool's Island Armor Spider aren't A tier.
Yeah, I mean, if you went by the mass consensus, which is that they are D tier, I think this would be a pretty grim picture compared to DS3 when we get there.
True.
So yeah, not looking great for your DS3 take, Ginge.
Yeah, you're gonna hate my DS3 take.